song time. You may sing along at your discretion. You will sing, I insist. Welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Linkara's gonna teach you all a lesson you won't learn. Brodsky, you're not the smartest. Liefeld, you're not an artist. Anyone who's had a bad comic published, it could be your turn. Linkara, he is a man. Punch, where's the bird he has? Linkara, he has a magic gun. Where he purchased that? Linkara. Coins, robots, Amazon trucks. Linkara. This comic sucks. Linkara. Hello and welcome to Planet of Atop the Fourth Wall Live. If this is your first time seeing Atop the Fourth Wall in live or recorded form, well, just remember that you chose to be here of your own free will, so it's all your fault. If you've come here expecting a witty, thought-provoking review of a piece of media, boy, you really don't know anything about me, do you? No, we're here to make fun of a comic book, because that's what I do. Because I'm doing this live and am reading from a script, I apologize in advance if I stutter, slur my words, or mess up my delivery. You may shun me for the rest of the day for my grievous offense. Now, you may have noticed that I'm dressed like a Pokemon trainer. I even have Pokeballs with me, a Mega Ring, a red hat, a little Bulbasaur plushie, which is not in the room right now, and bizarre white stripes on my outfit. So naturally, because I'm dressed as a Pokemon trainer with Pokemon paraphernalia, it should come as no surprise that today I'm reviewing a comic from Star Trek The Next Generation. This is the first comic ever published for Star Trek TNG, released only a few months after the series debuted. And if you are a fan of my show, this is also the same comic series that featured the crew teaming up with the Grinch to hunt down Santa Claus. And if you didn't know about that previously, congratulations! You've just heard the weirdest thing in your entire life. But we're taking a step back to the first issue of the 6-issue miniseries that's not really a miniseries, because the issues are each standalones. And let's start off with the cover, which is not very good. Oh sure, all the little diagrams and Okuda drawings are quite impressive, but for a comic cover, they don't exactly draw the reader in. Then again, it's basically the visual equivalent of technobabble, so it's probably pretty accurate. Some of the diagrams of the Enterprise are repeated and copied as if they were reflected somewhere. My friends, we have finally discovered what the hell multimodal reflection sorting is! Also, the artist was apparently under the impression that the Bassard collectors of the ship were actually headlights. We open in space, where it is the final frontier, aside from other dimensions, other forms of consciousness, time travel, and basically all the other frontiers that we haven't quite gotten to yet. I would say, with the way the panels are progressing, that this is meant to be like the opening theme song of the show, but I don't quite recall the Enterprise flying out of the sun at the end like this one does. Or perhaps they realized how goofy this comic was going to be, so they decided to just fly into the sun and end it now. The first issue is titled, Where No One Has Gone Before. And aside from the fact that we've had 2 episodes of Star Trek already called that, with slight modification of course, it is a blatant lie of a title, since they will be traveling to a planet in this comic fully populated by people, so they are actually just boldly going second. But hey, semantics! Humans haven't gone there before, and they're the only ones that count. Captain's log, stardate 41187.5. The USS Enterprise slices through the pitch thickness of an unmapped sector like a shaft. I can dig it. Her own legend, and those of her predecessors, serving us as fuel for this and all her subsequent missions. And yet the gas price for that fuel is still way too expensive. Traveling with us, the constant reminder of why we're out here. Families. We're reminded that we want to get away from our families, but they won't leave us alone. Most notably, children. The generations of the future who deserve to know what's out here in order to press on. Their very presence is my pressure to perform, our need to succeed. We'll just ignore the first episode of the damn show where I made it explicitly clear that I hate children and don't want to see them at all. We then see the bridge of the Enterprise and a 2-page spread that seems off. I can't exactly say for certain what it is. It seems like the proportions are wrong, like it's been stretched or condensed or something. And there's a lot here I can make fun of. For starters, the artist apparently couldn't decide which turbo lift the guy who's split in the middle of the page comes off, because both turbo lift doors are open. Data's chair seems to be really wonky, like he adjusted the sleep number on it so that he was rolling off to the side. Looks like a really high ceiling on the bridge, but then look at Troy in her chair. Her legs are so long that I feel she could jump and touch the ceiling without any effort. And that's not even getting into the dialogue. As you predicted, Counselor Troy, a rather uneventful transport through the sector, much the way I prefer long treks. Considering the entire series is, well, a trek, saying that things should be uneventful is not a good way to keep your audience's interest. My record for faultless projections is not quite 100%. As a matter of fact, I've never truly been comfortable sharing my visions as any kind of gauge, since the margin for error is a distinct reality. Wait, she has visions of the future? Okay, in that Grinch comic I mentioned, she was a full-on telepath too. Why is it that these comics are giving her every psychic power in the book, except for the one she actually had on the show? Data interrupts to mention that they're entering the Tri-Betylene star system. I realize this may sound odd, but I'm very excited about this mission. Yes, Data, that is very odd, considering you're not supposed to have any emotions like excited. Seems you're excited about each and every mission, Lieutenant Commander Data. No, he really isn't. The last time he got excited about something on the show, it was about how much he enjoyed killing things. This is pretty worrying. As Picard monologues about how interesting it'll be seeing the local life on the planet they're approaching, Riker feels the need to practice his upcoming modeling career in his chair. I will say this, anyone see that YouTube video of Riker sitting down? Dude doesn't know how to sit in a chair anyway, so this is actually the most accurate character representation in the comic so far. Still, even Picard calls him out on the bizarre sitting. And of course, Riker, embarrassed, sits normally. Still a bit conscious of Captain Picard's reputation, trying to relax, trying a little too hard. I hope Picard-senpai notices me. Picard orders Worf to try to start collecting information about the planet while making a gun gesture with his hand. Pazzow, I caught you, Mr. Worf. Worf reports that they're not getting much from the range they're at, and they'll wait a little bit to get anything else. In the time it's taken for you to report, Mr. Worf, we've probably come within range. I'm well aware of that, sir. But a little small talk doesn't hurt either. Worf, Klingon warrior, known for his propensity for small talk. Anyway, the computer starts giving out information on the planet, including that there are sapient humanoids who are the dominant species of the world. Mr. Worf, establish contact with the sentients. We don't know their technological level, or if they even know other life exists in the universe, but I never really liked the Prime Directive anyway. However, he's interrupted by the arrival of Dr. Crusher. Captain, excuse the interruption, but this has gone on long enough. I am tired of having my comic panels be slanted in a bizarre way for absolutely no reason. No, she's complaining about having waited weeks for certain medical supplies to arrive. Isn't this something that should be brought up at the staff meeting? Oh, and for some reason she brought Wesley with her. He has no reason to be there, he just hangs around his mother like a sad puppy and no social life. Dr. Crusher, you're abusing your bridge clearance. This is not the time or place for this discussion. And I've told you before about bringing your son up here. Seeing children makes me feel pressure to perform for the future. We can't have that! They're interrupted again, this time by the actual inhabitants of the planet, the Syntagis-Feluvians, who say over audio that they love meeting new life forms and invite them to come on down. Picard tells Riker to assemble a diplomatic away team. Captain, the natives seem friendly. Will you require my services any further?
No, Lieutenant Yar. You are relieved of bridge duty. I mean, it's not like the aliens could actually be hostile or that the diplomatic away team would require security, Lieutenant Yar. No. Just take the rest of the day off.
What happened to the proportions of his upper body in that frame?
Wow.
Oh my God!
This one looks like film.
It's like he's trying to do the make out with himself pose, but he can't get his arms around all the way. And indeed, before Picard and Crusher can get into another argument about medical supplies, the ship suddenly lurches, as if it was hit by something. But no, that's fine, Yar. Go take a load off. We got this. Picard orders everyone back to their posts, and indeed, the planet fired upon them. Hey, who here feels they need more Wesley Crusher in their lives?
No!
Well, too bad. You're getting it anyway. Wesley inflicts himself on us by posing really weird and telling Yar how to do her job.
Shouldn't we have our shields up? Lieutenant, channel the ship's auxiliary power to deflectors.
I'm Security Chief Officer, kid. I know how to activate the deflector shields. Yeah, but you apparently don't know when it's appropriate time to take your lunch break, Yar.
Doctor, take your son and vacate my bridge immediately. We cannot have the distractions you're causing while under fire. I'm also giving you a thumbs up. What's up with that?
The Feluvians report that they're not firing on them, despite the fact that they are very clearly firing on them. Attention, travelers. We have done nothing. We have initiated neither offensive actions. We are merely firing our death ray of peace and friendship at you. Worf suggests that it's a neighboring country or something other than the ones they made contact with, but scans indicate that the Feluvians only have a single city-state on their... Only a single city on the entire planet? The Feluvians must not mind urban sprawl.
I've been added the primitive version of Coruscant.
I was just about to get to that, and yeah, Coruscant in Star Wars is a city enveloping the entire planet, but that's not what they're saying in this comic. They're saying everything's concentrated into one little city on the whole friggin' planet. Otherwise, the option of a neighboring area would be more likely.
It's Mega City 1.
Mega City 1. Picard invites Riker and Troy into a meeting in his ready room to get input from them on what to do. He wonders if they should still send down an away team, and I wonder why they don't ask the Feluvians who the hell did shoot at them if they're not responsible.
It's probably the planet.
And just to show how brilliant these people have been at forward thinking, only now does Troy recommend that they bring Yar along as a security precaution. They weren't gonna send any security before, and you needed Troy to point it out to you? Troy's job on the bridge is to state the blindingly obvious, so her talent for that is finally being utilized well, but only because everybody else is a moron.
He also crashes the ship.
Shouldn't be anything but standard diplomatic procedures if all goes well.
They fired on you! Twice! Troy suggests that she come along as well, since her abilities may help them figure out what the deal is with the attack on them. Deanna, I'm afraid I cannot let what's happened between us before stand in the way of success of our meeting with the Feluvians. So come on. Okay, thanks for stating that, Riker. How would we ever get by without you providing exposition to your ex-girlfriend about things she's already aware of? So, who's in the mood for something silly and stupid, I mean, besides all the stuff we've already seen. An announcement goes out on the ship signaling for the backup officers for the con and operations positions on the bridge, since both Geordi and Data will be going to the away team. And we meet those replacement officers, the Bickleys. A husband and wife who, as their name suggests, bicker. That's the joke. And as we see here, the call apparently interrupted them changing into their Dr. Doom cosplays. I mean, just With the capes and no pants for either of them. I know Star Trek Online allows for a lot of uniform customization, but I don't quite recall capes being standard attire during the show. But yeah, they bicker and fight. They even say they need to stop bickering and yelling at each other when they reach the bridge, and then they continue even when they're on the bridge. I would tell you what they're saying, but it's all just noise. Stuff like, you take too long to change, or you're stupid. And it's all pretty irrelevant considering everyone has proven to be stupid today. Even Picard is sick of this crap, but apparently while Picard is perfectly capable of telling Crusher to shut up and take her idiot son off the bridge, he can't tell two people to stop fighting or else they're fired. This is but one of the reasons I'm still not sold on having families aboard starships. Okay, one, they're married and both in Starfleet. The fact that they fight isn't good enough reason to not have families on the ship. Two, was it a mirror universe Picard who did that opening narration? You seem pretty on board with the idea of families on the ship during that. Or are you just covering your ass for Starfleet when they read your logs? Also, the artist is apparently under the impression that the turbolift doors are always open. Why? Not even elevators at the time did that. Picard is told that the away team is ready to beam down, which means that he decides to head to the transporter room, even though he's not going himself. Take me to Deck D. Okay, nerd moment here. Not that any of you here at a convention would know anything about nerd stuff. But the decks of the Enterprise used numbers, not letters. They must have had really, really early drafts about the characters in the ship when they're making this thing. Or they were just stupid, never assumed that stupid isn't an option. Upon emerging from the turbolift, Picard runs into Wesley. Oh, goody. Wesley has decided to act like he's sneaking around, judging by the way his shoulders are pushed up and he's getting ready to do jazz hands. Are you going down to Syntagus the Louvre, sir? Are you going to kick their alien butts for attacking us? Or are you going to follow the Federation's Prime Directive and lay off? I guess the Prime Directive in those early days was, it is forbidden to fight back if someone shoots at you. This is exactly why I have that theory that Starfleet only has 2 ships active at any given time, you know.
Young Mr. Crusher, I most certainly am not going to kick any butts. We have torpedoes for that, young man.
Surely, Federation Regulation 12... Okay, what the hell is Wesley doing there? Is he making gang signs at Picard? Hold tight, Westman.
Hit you up with Cards Against Humanity later.
Dr. Crusher runs into them too and tells Wesley to scram, while she leans against the doorway as if she was posing for a bit more mature version of the show.
Oh dear, I seem to have dropped my hypospray.
But then Dr. Crusher tells Picard to talk to the hand.
My crush.
Actually, it's character development stuff. Blah, 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 character backstory that was already established on the show, and therefore this is just painful exposition about their history together, and dear lord, is this an awkward way of framing these panels. Makes it look like Dr. Crusher is 2 feet taller than Picard. Picard continues on his way to the transporter room, and now Riker is in the same pose that Dr. Crusher was in, leaning against the door. Oh dear, Captain, I seem to have dropped my hypospray. And the reason that Picard is in the transporter room? So he can brief the away team, since apparently doing that while they were already on the bridge would have just been impossible. It's not like the captain should be on the bridge while the ship is being fired upon or anything. He explains that each of their duties in the mission, though Geordi only gets your past contributions to away missions makes you an asset to any team. Whatever the heck that's supposed to mean. Maybe he just figures that the Tholuvians are big fans of reading Rainbow.
Commander Deanna Troi, your abilities as a telepath are of obvious value when meeting new life forms. The Tholuvians' true motives are our main concern on this mission. So be sure to invade their privacy at your leisure. Who gives a crap about their rights?
If you look to the future, can't you just,
Too late, you had your chance. And now I lost my place. So they beam down into a forest, apparently, and not an embassy like the Tholuvians said they'd be beaming to. Seems like that's the kind of thing a normal scan would pick up, but whatever. Point is, they get fired upon as soon as they arrive. A combination of Geordi's visor and Troy's abilities lets them quickly find their attackers, and Tasha readies her phaser to fire back. However, Riker orders her not to. We cannot afford to make any diplomatic errors in judgment. Not yet. Captain Picard made it clear that we are to strive for a positive first contact. It would be a diplomatic faux pas if we didn't let them kill us all. I do not get this comic. Just because you come in peace does not mean everybody else does. Oh, and of course, what's even better, the Tuluvians have come armed with a giant battle wagon. Oh, did I cover it? Yeah. Giant battle wagon covered in guns. This is definitely the best time to not get your guns ready. As the battle wagon starts opening fire, Tasha suggests they split up to make it harder for them to hit. Riker finally letting her use her damn weapon. Though be careful, we don't want diplomatic negotiations to break down or anything. Back on board the Enterprise, Worf reports that the Tuluvians are still waiting for the landing party to arrive. Picard quickly orders the pantsless Bickleys to find the away team and not argue with one another, or else they'll be confined to quarters. I'm guessing whatever airborne virus that made everyone stupid, probably released by Wesley, just a guess, is finally wearing off. Back on the planet, Geordi and Data are still looking around to figure out where they are, and the battle wagon attack seems to have stopped for the moment. Geordi points out that he doesn't like the quiet, and Data concurs. It's strange. When the bombs are falling, my adrenal fluid really gets flowing. And there's nothing like the threat of termination to make you really feel alive. There's nothing I can add to that. Data just said that. And speaking of things that people just said, sometimes you androids really throw me. Geordi, Data is the only android you have ever met. Because until you guys found lore later on that season, as far as you knew, he was the only android in existence. I seriously want to see what the character notes were. I'm not kidding. I love seeing early process stories and early ideas that got completely thrown away by the time this comic came out. Oh, and then the battle wagon finds them again and arms its big friggin' cannon right at them. How the hell did that thing sneak up on you guys? The two make a run for it, but only find themselves cornered at a rock wall. A hatch on top of the battle wagon opens, revealing this He-Man wannabe who is holding both a laser gun and a bow and arrow. You are mine, strangers. You can run no further. I have won the game. And now all of you have lost the game. I don't care how stupid that was. I couldn't let that pass. Data and Geordi surrender, but Tasha then swings down and kicks He-Man away. She had snuck onto the battle wagon and remained unnoticed by it because it was so huge. Reinforcements for He-Man quickly arrive, forcing the crew to take cover. Data starts climbing up the battle wagon so he can take control of it like any video game with vehicles. And indeed, Data takes control and shoots at them with their own battle wagon. And this is why you don't leave your keys in your car. The attackers surrender, but their response to this is strange. Let us go, or we'll tell. I think negotiations may have actually broken down because their moms yelled out that lunch was ready. Troy and Riker arrive, and Troy explains that these attackers, they were just playing a game.
What?
This is confirmed by Troy reading their minds, because of course she can do that in this comic, and a huge vessel appears overhead and tells them they'll be transported aboard. And on board the ship, 3 figures appear in shadow and say the attackers will be sent to their quarters. You there, come out of the shadows. We've had enough of these games. Booming. Riker has a very booming voice. We are ashamed of how you have been welcomed to our world. Yes, we will do anything to atone for the actions of our children.
What?
Yeah, the guy here says they haven't had war in centuries, but their young ones still like to play at it. Riker greets them openly and not making any judgments about this, but Geordi points out what's going on. You mean they age backwards? Yep, that's how that works in this comic. The kids are adults and the adults are kids. And that makes absolutely no friggin' sense, not even for aliens. This is just not how biology works. Hell, considering how tiny they are, do they give birth to full-size people? How? Or do they start small, grow big, and then shrink again for no reason? And yes, there was actually an episode of Star Trek Voyager that did this too, and you know what? That episode sucked and made no sense either. On top of that, if the kids are actually the adults, why do they feel the need to have the big floating Segway that this guy is plugged into? It's like a big wheel of the future. And why do they let the kids have battle wagons and surface-to-orbital lasers? The guy...
I'm thinking he says it.
Someone call Child Protective Services. The guy invites Picard over because of his restraints from launching any kind of retaliatory attack on them, and indeed, Picard is ready to beam in over in his bizarre brown diplomatic jacket thing that he also wore in the Grinch comic. However, Wesley still needs to shove his face into things that don't concern him. And so our comic ends with this exchange. Do you think that I could maybe one day go on one of these safe diplomatic type away missions?
Wesley, these trips are absolutely no place for children.
Dumb. This comic sucks. The dialogue is stilted, the artwork bizarre at times with everyone making exaggerated gestures, the characters are morons, Wesley is more annoying here than on the show, and the science is just... wow. And it's hilarious to read. Definitely recommended for so bad it's good value. And that's all I got, so thank you everybody. What was it?
Who's your favorite Doctor?
Seventh Doctor, Sylvester McCoy, which is why I have that cosplay of him.
I didn't get to see that.
You should.
I will.
You will. User.
Yeah. Is there any comic that you really like from a creator you really like, but you always were disappointed or shocked that, wait, they came up with this crap?
Something I was overall enjoyed, but there was like a creative moment I didn't like.
No. A creator that you've loved.
Oh, creator.
You find out that they came up with some crap, and you're like 1 minute crap, they came up with crap, and you're like, wait, they came up with like Gail Simone and Teen Titans.
Gail Simone's Teen Titans books are not very good. But even she admits they're not very good, and they're drawn by Rob Liefeld. I really need to do those on the show sometime. The problem is they're not like god-awful, they're just not very good. And I recall at the time that there's this bizarre scene near the end where like Wonder Girl goes in to see Raven and they just like hug each other on a bed and it looks like a porn pose. They're just like staring at the camera together, making vapid expressions, just looking right at the reader, and it's like, was this supposed to be touching and heartwarming, or are they going to start stripping off each other's clothes anytime now? Otherwise, Devin Grayson's Nightwing run was unfortunately not very good. And I love Devin Grayson. I wish he got more work. Any more questions? Actually, we'll go in the back there first because he's been spinning his hat around. You, sir.
Perfect. Okay. Actually, 2 questions.
Time ran out. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. First question, and this is something I've been wondering for a while. How would you react if someone basically stole your idea for artificial intelligence counterpart? For like whatever web series.
For, you mean like counter, as in like having a robot? Having a robot buddy or a computer? Because technically I didn't invent that. I'm pretty sure I didn't, or else Spoonie would be kind of mad.
I'm talking about something kind of based off of Nimue from the Colossal Con 1.
And Comicron 1. And
Whatever.
do you even watch
off my show!
Shut up,
Get out!
No. Here's the thing about Nimoy. Actually, the inspiration for Nimoy was the artificial intelligences in the webcomic Schlock Mercenary. I really loved those and how there's always how every ship has its own artificial intelligence with a little projected hologram screen of a head. Which, if I could get away with that, I'd probably do that. But otherwise, yeah, I wouldn't mind. It's not my idea either. People can steal my stuff all the time. Einstein said that the secret to creativity is knowing how to hide your sources.
Okay.
Why is Krabby best Pokemon?
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know. Here's the thing. When I started, as you may have noticed if you follow my Twitter, I'm kind of on a real Pokemon kick right now. Not that you can tell or anything. I've just really gotten back into the show and the manga and the games, especially the games. And I rewatched all of the Indigo League championship stuff. And Krabby was just freaking awesome. Sweet! That Mondo or Monty the magician asshole who and Krabby was just like going and then like it evolved and it kicked its ass. It was awesome, and so Krabby became best Pokemon.
I thought Little Petty was the best one.
Little Petty will just cut you, but she is awesome, and she has become the staple Pokemon of my Pokemon Omicron Let's Play, which you should all be watching. Are you all watching?
Oh, yes!
Good.
Also, Krabby knows how to drop a hammer. Just saying. That hammer, that is.
Indeed. All right, someone from this side. Bucky.
Hi, when is your 18 plus panel? But
Tomorrow night at 10:30 p.m.
and where will it be located?
This room, I believe.
Awesome, thank you.
There will be naughtiness. I may swear a few times. I may even say hell. And back over to the side. You, of course, madam.
If Linkara were to come back, would he be wearing your new outfit, or would he stick with the old outfit?
He'd probably be with the old outfit.
Oh.
Because, well, he's not trying to. The only reason Mechikara emulated Linkara was to try to get the gun to work, and apparently it worked. But aside from that, actually, what's the time right now?
About 6:45.
6:45. Okay. Can you remind me in about 10 minutes how much when we're nearing the end? Because then I'm going to make my big announcement that I've been talking about for a while. Because I wanted something to have people to ask me throughout the con season, and I'm sure. And the reason why I want to wait until the end is because I want to make sure you guys don't ask me questions about that. Because once I do, you will be asking questions like crazy, and you'll be coming up to me, and then encourage you to come up to me later and buy things from me.
You magnificent bastard.
I am a magnificent bastard, and I read my book. You should not read my books, because my books were written when I was 14, and I still need to get them off the market. And over to this side again, Top Hat.
Android, iPhone, or don't care?
I cannot hear you.
Android, iPhone, or don't care?
Android. I finally gave in and got a smartphone because I've been doing so much convention traveling that it's useful to have something where I can, like, if I need to pinpoint like a restaurant or something I need to go to. Plus, I have a Pokedex app on this. It's called Dexter and it's free.
And second, what inspires you for your storyline? Where do you get the ideas from?
A little of everything. I just kind of look at similar kinds of villains and stories, and I just try to emulate, not necessarily emulate or copy or steal, but become inspired by them. One of the original, there are a lot of inspirations for the Entity storyline. I could go on and on about the Entity storyline because it's my personal favorite. One of the initial ideas for that originally came about because I thought about the Cthulhu mythos. And the elder gods and the old gods, and dead Cthulhu waits dreaming at the bottom of the ocean in his kingdom. And I started to think about it, and I started to wonder about these kind of creatures like that, who are supposed to be beyond good and evil, and are just supposed to be these powerful creatures who barely notice us because we are like an amoeba unto them. And I started wondering, a lot of the mythos revolve around Cthulhu supposedly being a conqueror. And then I started kind of trying to measure out the contradictions about them. Namely that if he's supposed to be a conqueror, then he has some kind of intrinsic desire for something, but then why could he have an intrinsic desire if he's beyond all these kind of earthly, human kind of things? And so I got to wonder, what if the reason why dead Cthulhu wakes to dreaming is because he realizes the futility of its own existence and he doesn't want to wake up? And that turned into the idea of how eventually we stopped the entity, which was existential horror. that even the Cthulhuian gods realized, oh crap, I have no reason to exist. I have no purpose. Well, I'm dying. So yeah, I get inspiration from all sorts of things. And of course, the reason why I chose Missing Number is Missing Number scares the hell out of me. It scared the hell out of me as a child. It still scares the hell out of me, even though I still did the trick to get 99 Master Balls. Back over to this side. Yep.
Well, 2 questions on the subject of Cthulhu. Have you read Lindsay and Company's book?
Awoken? I should have brought that with me. I have a copy of it, and I want to do readings from it. No. I will never take you to the Pumpkin Festival. If you have not read Lindsay's book Awoken, that she, Elisa Hansen, and Nella all wrote together, it's basically, the basic plot is Twilight with Cthulhu. And it's parody, and it's hilarious. Her name, I can't remember, it's like Andromeda Slate. And you know why her last name is Slate? Because she's a blank slate. And they needed to get, and her boyfriend's name is Riley. Get it? Get it? Oh, you don't get it. Relaye, the city, with Cthulhu, and the thing, and... Now you get it. But yeah, I need to read more with it because it's hilarious. And they're trying to think about how to do the sequel right now. Back over to this side. You and that.
What's your honest opinion of the Atlantis, Stargate?
I still haven't seen it. Most of the Stargate stuff I've seen has actually been through SF Debris reviews, but I really want to get around to watching Stargate and Stargate Atlantis stuff. And, Black Widow.
What do you think of the Winter Soldier movie?
Winter Soldier was awesome. I did a vlog with my brother about it. You should go watch that. Right after this panel. Because I need ad revenue. You sure, friend.
Linkara's crush on Harley Quinn during the Countdown review. How could that never been brought up ever again?
The thing is, a lot of stuff in the early first 50 episodes, I was still experimenting around with how I wanted to play the character. So the crush of Harley Quinn kind of was around for a little bit, but then I just dropped it because I wasn't really feeling it anymore. Plus, I got together with Liz at that point, so I kind of wanted to establish it. When Liz eventually joined the show, I did want to establish that the two were a couple together, or at least there was some kind of unrequited love there. It's kind of implied in spots, but you never really get a full answer on that. And by the way, Liz will appear in at least one more future episode. Will not necessarily have complete closure on her stuff, but she is still around, and she didn't just disappear into the ether or something. Yay! You sure in the back. Yep.
What do you think of the Arrow series?
The Arrow series? I haven't watched any of it. Green Arrow's a tool. He is. I really should watch Arrow. The problem is a lot of DC's TV stuff is just kind of bleh. I mean, have you all watched Smallville? The only person who's worse at being Superman is the Man of Steel Superman. And that's pretty hard considering Clark and Smallville. In Smallville. Clark in Smallville does not ever want to fight crime, never wants to do good stuff. He just wants why do I have to get involved in this? Is this really my concern? It's like the whiniest ever. No, it's not as whiny as Superboy Prime. But it's kind of difficult to do that when he's, I'm just trying to save my own universe and everything is ruined. Everything was better on my Earth.
Hey, he got what he deserved in the end.
He got what he deserved in the end. which was being sent onto Earth Prime and then attacking the DC offices.
No, he's in the Fourthwall by the end.
He was what?
Put on the Thor.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Jeff Johns' Teen Titans series lasted 100 issues, and the final issue got Superboy Prime put in the damn source wall. A fitting punishment.
6:55.
Was it?
6:55.
It's 65 right now? Okay, we'll have one more question, then I'll make the announcement. Was it the side I just answered?
Yeah.
Sorry, we already got one question from you. Oh, the T-Punk, yeah.
Have you been reading any of Brian K. Vaughan's saga?
I have not. I really need to. So, since you really want to answer, okay.
Okay, this is it's kind of a morbid question, but if a celebrity were to die, which one would break? Like, which one would
None really would. Because I'm not connected. I don't have that kind of personal connection with celebrities. I mean, it would depress me for a bit of oh man, if Mr. T died, I'd be like, oh no, we've lost the good one. That kind of a thing. But I don't think it would not any of them would break me. Gail Simone dying would be devastating, both for just in general existence and just for comics. But otherwise, no. It's more personal loss that would not necessarily break me, but you might see me going yeah, guys, I need to take some time off. That kind of thing. The loss of Justin, I'm still sad about that. I'm better, but yeah. But let's end this not on a sad note, because here's my big announcement. I'm working on Top Fourth Wall, the movie. So let that entertain you for the rest of the con season. We have to clear out of here.